everyone, I am going to be doing this page from Rita Berman's summer book. I thought I would just do a sort of final summer picture before sort of autumn really kicks in. I know I've done a little bit of autumn stuff already, but I thought I would. And I'm also going to use my... Now, I picked this one because it's not only in her summer book but in her compilation book. So if you've got her seasons book, which has got pages from all of her separate seasons books, then you'll have this one as well. So I thought I would do that so that more people would be able to colour along if they wanted to. Just put some paper behind the page. Now I've decided to do these in pastel pencils. I'm actually going to be using my Castle Pasteltint pencils, but I thought I would just talk you through a little bit about the different pastel pencils that I own very briefly. So I have these Holbeins, and I have coarse pencils, which I'll just bring them in shot. They're in a pencil case, which look like this. Now this coarse brand, K-O-R-E-S, they come in sets of 12 or 24, and they're a budget pencil. They sharpen to a nice fine point, and they work really nicely. I would use these, but I think more people have the Castles, which is why I'm using those. But I'm losing one. But the only thing is they come in a cardboard case, so I have to put them in a pencil case. This is a really nasty pencil case. I've got a Stedler one. No, a Derwent one, sorry. I don't like it. The Holbeins, these are my 12 set. They're extremely expensive. You can see I have used them a lot. They are really nice. I'd love more Holbeins, but wouldn't we all? But you can see how short they're getting. But yeah, I feel they're not the best value for money because they're so expensive. However, since I bought these, there is a shop in the UK that sells them, so you don't have to pay the import duty and things like that, and the postage is more reasonable. I think they're about £4 a pencil when you buy them. They might be a bit cheaper now, I haven't looked, but you can buy these little tins, you can buy bigger tins. There's 50 altogether, which is a lot. So that's Holbein, but we're going to be using Castles because they brought out, I think they basically wanted to copy Holbein in a way to bring out a budget range. So there are their pencils, and I'm going to sort of show you how to use them a little bit, because I find that pastels can be rather pale, and you don't always see the nice sort of range of colour, or excuse me, you can't always blend and things like that as easily because they sort of haven't got quite the intensity of pigment. And if you have a look at this, some of these really you haven't got much to work with, but some of these are a bit darker. So we're going to be having a play and doing our Dragonfly. I think I'm going to start with the body. Now usually with the body of a Dragonfly I will do it grey. Now we do have a couple of greys. We have a Winterberry and we have a Peach Rose. The Peach Rose is slightly browner, the Winterberry is slightly greyer, blacker, which I like, but I think we're going to mix a few colours just to make it a little bit more interesting, and that's what I really want to show you, is how we can mix up the colours a little bit, get some blends going on, and get, you know, how to sort of use our pencils really nicely. So I'm going to start with the Winterberry and start with some parts of the body. So I'm going to use it on this long piece here, like the antenna, but I'm going to try and put a more intense colour here and then fade it a bit. Now you can see that is as intense as I can get. If I layer any more I'm going to ruin the paper, so it's quite faint. So that is something we have to sort of bear in mind with these. Here I'm going to do a little bit here, and then the lower bits of this sort of bit there, and the same on this side. We're going to be adding a second colour to this. Now it's not going to be a grey, so to just make it a little bit more interesting than having it all grey. And we've got different bits marked out, which indicates to me we want different colours. Now you can use the pastels in combination with other pencils. Now if you've got your full set of Holbeins, obviously, you know, wish list items, there's 150, 50 are pastels and 100 aren't, so you can mix them however you wish. Also, I didn't speak about Prismacolor. Prismacolor have a really big range of pastel colours within their normal set, so if you have a careful look you can find them. Also with the pastel tints, I'm going to use this one called Perle. It's a sort of, let's come in a bit closer so you can see. I'm just a bit worried about coming in too close because I'll probably forget that to zoom back out. So I'm now going to use this about here and add a bit of this sort of colour in like that. And make it quite faint in the middle. So what I have done with because not everyone has castles or has these, I've actually done a comparison chart between pastel tint and polychromos. This was particularly for my friend Mary, who likes to have a comparison chart, and she loves her polychromos, so don't blame her. And but I made it available for everyone. Of course, you can go and download that from Ko-fi if you don't have this set. Now the matches aren't brilliant because, you know, I can obviously match a grey. My grey's disappeared under my piece of paper. But when it comes to trying to match, I'm going to do all these circles in the grey. I think I did them already, but they're faint. I'm going to go over them. Yeah, the matches aren't exact, but it means you can have a go and your colours will be much more vibrant. Now I want another colour just for these bits, oops, in there. And I'm looking at what sort of is greyish. And I think often a sort of lilac-y purples go quite well with greys, but I'm actually going to pick the jade. So if you look at the swatch chart, so here's our grey that we're using. And I figured that this colour is quite close. This is quite greyish in its look, which is the pearl that we've been using. But now I'm looking at the rest and I'm thinking this jade is fairly greyish, but it's a little bit greeny. So I think I might use the Larkspur. I think there's a bit of grey in there, more so than anything else. So that's why I'm picking it. I think it's this one. Yeah. Now this is a much more vibrant colour than some of the others that we've been using. So I'm just going to use it quite gently because I don't want to sort of draw attention to this bit more so than anything else. So I'm just going to use it quite pale here, like that. Okay, and the same on this side. So I don't want it overwhelming. I just want it looking like it's a slightly different colour. Right, now let's do our sort of head. I think the eyes I might do in the grey. I would usually do eyes in black, but you know, we don't have black. I'm going to try and make it quite intense. So I'm just going to layer and layer and layer. You can see how it does get darker the more you layer, which is quite useful. There we go. Then we have the sort of front of the face part. I'm going to do this in our pearl colour. Okay, we will mix a few colours in a little bit as well. So I'm going to try and make it darker on the outside and a little bit lighter in the middle, but I don't want to leave that middle white. There we go. Now I'm going to go back to my grey, my Winterberry. Oh, it's hard to see, isn't it? And do around the edge of the face. Head part, main head, I don't know what it is called. Head, I guess. So all the way around here. I had a discovery today which was rather exciting. I realised what the dripping noise is that I can hear in here. It's the shower upstairs, because we're using the shower that's above this room, which we haven't been using only since our bathroom Larkspur has been out of order. And I heard it dripping this morning because we've had to go back to using the old shower. I'm using it really gently on the very edge of the grey and then bringing it into the middle. You can go as dark as you like. I don't really want my body to stand out, you know, so I'm going to leave it quite pale like that, but you can add more layers if you want to. Yeah, unfortunately we've had a bit of a setback with the bathroom in that the shower door's leaking on the floor. Now at least it's not leaking into a place that we can't mop up or like the showers before. I'm doing this bit a little bit darker. Gently bring the colour into the centre, and then I'm going to grab a little bit of the pearl to go in the middle. So I've basically, the shower door's been put on upside down. Yay. But you can see how these are blending together a little bit. The guys are coming back out, but they can't come out and fix it for quite a significant period. It's just a little bit annoying. Now we've got a line around the outside here. Yeah, I'm going to do this partly in the Larkspur. So and start here, and that's going to be my darkest bit. It's not as dark as it could go, but I'm going to fade it down there like that. Yeah, so unfortunately you've got to cut. They can't come back until the 9th of September, and today is still August recording this. I'm getting ahead of myself, which is nice. So we've got quite a while to wait, and I'm going to use the grey with this time. I'm going to use different combinations of these three colours. I think it just shows you some ideas, but it also gives some different looks to different parts, which I think is good. So I'm not going right to the tip, just about here, putting a little bit, few layers down, and then sort of fading it towards the centre of this sort of area. And the same here. But yeah, I had them out yesterday looking at it, and they couldn't really figure out what's going on. But then I had the supplier out, and she worked it out right away. Well, she'd already knew that the door was upside down, but we'd said, oh, it's fine, we'll just leave it. But obviously we didn't know it was going to leak, because we hadn't used it until the floor was done, and then it was okay for a couple of times using it. I've got this sort of double line. I think I'm going to do the same, so darker here where it's nesting against this one, and then darker here and a little bit lighter there. It's quite an interesting design just for the body. And then we've got to get all this wing detail in. Should be fun. I'm going to use a whole different set of colours for those. Now I've got my pearl again, and I'm going to fill in some of these gaps. I'm going to do these ones along the edge with this, just filling it in. I'm not going to do any shading here. I think I'm just blanking it in. Is that the right word? I don't know. Blocking, maybe. Maybe that's what I want to say. And then these circles here as well. Then these bits, guess what colour? Yeah, are blue. So back to our Larkspur. And just fading it towards the base, I think, feels the natural way to colour these sorts of shapes. Like that. And that. There we go. And we're going to do the tail part in the same colour scheme. I've got to have a think. So we've used the blue on the round edge here, so we'll use a different colour down here. We haven't used the pink, well, the pearl colour. So we'll use that down here. And what I'm going to do, well, that's tricky because it goes all the way round. I think I'm going to cut it off there as if there's a line there. So just at the base of this piece here, and then decide in a minute what to do. So I'm going to sort of fade that a bit towards the middle, and then come right down to the bottom here where we've got, can you see? Yes you can, this part, and bring it back upwards. Sort of meet it there, so we've got a more intense bit here and here, a bit lighter here. Now this side, I think I'm going to do a different colour. I think it's going to, if I do the same as this, then it almost negates the point of having that line. We'll do these little arches in the blue. I'm just going to sharpen it a little bit because quite small spaces. In fact, I'm going to do the little circles in quite an intense blue. So I'm going to do those first while it's nice and sharp. Key is when you've just sharpened to do the bits that need the really sharp pencil. I don't think we can't do those. We're going to do these though. Start at the bottom here. My aim, which I'm not achieving down here, is to make it darker at the bottom of each bit and at the top of our sort of... Oh, that big pencil lead just shot right across my desk. At the centre of the arch, make it a little bit lighter, but don't have any white. So when it's really small, there isn't really much space to do that. But you can develop that as you go up. Now, what time is it? I'm just checking out whether it's lunchtime. Not yet. I was so hungry just now I had a snack. Don't usually snack, but we've been out. I popped to the supermarket, needed some bits and pieces, took the boys to help me carry it all. And I came back, I was really hungry. Now I'm contemplating what to do with all these bits all around here, like the sort of magical look to the whole thing. I know how I did it on my last version of this, when I did the compilation book. I remember exactly what I did. So I'm not sure yet. It sort of depends how I do the wings really, and how it all fits together. But that will... So you can go back over if you want and just darken the lower bits if you want to really emphasize that, but I'm happy with how that's looking. And now we're going to use the grey, which I'm sure you guessed, to do this part. I think I'm going to follow the same pattern as I did on this side, with it being darker at the top and bottom and a bit lighter towards the centre. So I'm just going to start layering it up here to get a more intense colour, but this grey is quite pale, so you can't get it really dark, but that's okay. And the whole point of having a pastel pencil, pastel tone pencil, is that it's pale. It's very different to a pastel pencil. You have to be careful actually when you're buying pencils, because there are pencils that actually have like a soft chalk pencil, a soft chalk pastel core, and they're called pastel pencils. They're a very different thing. And I've got a couple, I think, which I tried. I thought they might be easier to apply to edges of things when you're using a soft pastel, and they are, but the ones one I had was so intense that I couldn't get it to work with my other pastels because they were paler, and it just looked like I'd got a sharp outline round, which I could have done in a normal pencil. I didn't quite get it, but I would imagine that what you would really need to do is have a set, colour them like normal, and then you can smudge them into each other a little bit more easily, but not really use them to their full capacity, I guess is the word. Now we've got a symmetrical design for our wings, so we're going to use that. We're going to do that. Now because we've started with cold colours, we've got our pink, blue and grey, we're going to use cold colours for the wings. Now that means that we're not going to do any oranges, yellows, and probably not even any greens. We'll probably concentrate more on purples and blues, which I think will be quite pretty anyway. We have a really dark purple. Let me show you. So you have this hydrangea, which I would say isn't really pastel-y, it's quite dark. We have these blues, which are very pretty, these as well, so we might sort of concentrate on these, because these are a little bit not so, they don't fit in so well with these colours that we've used already, these three. These pinks might work, particularly the Tickle pink as well. but I think we'll start with the Hydrangea. Now these, because this is a more vibrant colour, it's a little bit easier to blend and use because you can see it, it's more vibrant. It's somehow, I feel it's easier. I'm going to use it for this straight line around here, but I'm going to start with it here fairly intensely, not as intensely as it can go, because again we want to use it with other pastels that might be a little bit paler. So I'm going to just gently fade it to there, and I'm going to do the same on this side. We're going to blend it into another one, you see. Same on this side, and just sort of fade it off. It doesn't matter exactly where you fade it, I'm just trying to get it about halfway. And then, but what does matter is that you get it the same on this side if you can. As good as you can. I mean, don't sort of panic and worry about it, because I'm sure if you looked at a, what is this, a dragonfly? A flying thing, you know, insect, and looked at it carefully, it wouldn't be exactly symmetrical. It's like our bodies, you know, we're not symmetrical exactly. You know, we might have a birthmark on one side of our face, for example, and not on the other, like I have, you know, just a little mole or something. We might find our lips aren't quite in sync, our nose might not be exactly the same shape, different things like that. I'm now going to use the Tickle pink. This again is quite a vibrant one, so I'm going to be a little bit careful and not do too many layers down here, but just enough to show, and then fade it up towards this one, and we overlap a little bit. Just make it, I'm not trying not to put too many layers down, but I'm making sure I'm trying to cover all the white paper. So, you know, we're not completely symmetrical, so why would we expect an animal to be? So don't be too critical of yourself if you can't do it. Just think you'll just making it more natural. And around there. It's I haven't seen many of these. I don't know if this is a dragonfly or a damselfly. I think it's to do with how many sets of wings they have. Right, so there is that. Now I'm going to do the same on these lower parts. So I'm going to go back to my, could do it the other way around. Let's do it the other way around. Let's start with the Tickle pink, just for a bit of a difference. So here we're going to start with the pink, and then just fade it off, and the same here. Think about where you want your purple to start, I think about here. Now this one is a very different shape, but I think I still want my darkest purpley bit to be here. So I'm not sure that I actually need any pink there at all. Like that, and then this one, it's going to be very purpley, just put the tiniest bit there. And then we need to just replicate that on this side and copy what you've done so you can match it up as well as possible. Because even if you didn't copy me exactly, you can copy yourself, and that's more important than getting it looking like I have made it look. And yours might be better than mine. Right, back to our hydrangea. And we're thinking here, I'm thinking is the intense bit. I'm going to have to fade this quite quickly because we've got a lot of space, like that. There we go, and then here, there's no pink on that side at all. Just gently incorporate it in, like that, and just move around and across. Fade that one. And then, yeah, this one. Get no pink on there. There we go, not talking now. Getting too hungry. So I don't want to make it too dark, as I keep saying, because I think it will, when we're using a pastel pencil that doesn't have that intensity, it will just, that bit will just stand out too much. Now we have some blues. Let me think. I'm just picking really. I'm going to use the Wisteria, the Heather, and the Blue Mist. I think these three. It's quite a nice mix. The Wisteria and Heather might look alike, but this one's quite a lot more pinky than this one, so I think that this one's more bluey, so I think it'll work. And I'm just having a look now. I need something to go around the outside here. I was thinking of doing one of the two colours that I used on the outside, but I think it'll be better for me to actually switch and use a blue. So I'm just going to sharpen this one, which is, as I said, the Blue Mist, and I'm just going to block it in here and just follow it round quite gently. Now when you're using a pastel set, you have to be aware that it's not going to be as intense and vibrant as a regular pencil. Now this probably sounds really obvious, but I think it can be tempting to press harder because you'll want to see your colour more, and that is just going to spoil your paper. So yes, you may want to layer up a little bit, but do it gently and slowly. And what happens with some colours is that when you layer them up, you don't... Let me show you. So here you can see I've tried to do a sort of... So this one's got 3 layers, 2 and 1. So you can see the intensity does change. But when it comes to something like this, it's so faint you can barely see the change in intensity, and particularly with something like the Magnolia here, it's really difficult. And the Peach Cream, when you layer up more, you don't really see that much of a difference. And with some pastel pencils, I have found that the more you layer, it doesn't change the colour. Like I'm used to with a polychromos, for example, the more you layer up, the colour looks a little bit different because you're seeing less paper through, so it affects that. But with the pastel tint, you don't get such a dramatic difference when you layer up, so you have to be aware of that. And maybe rather than layering it up lots, if you do want a darker tone, you may need to mix it with a darker pastel pencil or a different pencil altogether. You know, I know some people struggle with mixing sets, but mixing pastel tints with, say, your Harmonious set if you have one, or your, let me think, what else might you have, just your Castle Art Soft Touch or Gold pencils, one of those, it could help you. Any set really, you can generally. I'm going to use the Wisteria to colour all the bits that have got lines, okay, like here. But I think I'll start there actually. And you can mix. I've not found a pencil set that doesn't mix with another pencil set yet. They all seem to work quite well together. I know people get a little bit worried about mixing sets. They're not sure if they're going to work together. I find they're good. If you've got a soft pencil like a Prismacolor, they can be really good for a base, and then you can grab a Polychromos, for example, as a hard pencil, and then do some detailing on top. I've done that in a few pictures now and I found it was really good. The problem I had was too many pencils on my desk. It's a nice problem to have though, and I will have to figure out a way of managing that if I do it again, because it was a bit... Well, what I actually did was I did all the Prisma work first and then put those aside and then did the Polychromos work after, but I don't know if that was the most effective way of doing it. So I'm doing all the lined bits and I'm just blocking them in really. Not doing anything because I feel like they're background bits. I don't know why, it's just how it seems to me. And we're just going to go across and do it on this side as well. You can see it starting to take shape. hand caught under the paper that was behind the page. Even when we're using a very soft pencil like this, I still like to put paper behind the page, because it just gives it a little bit of cushioning and protection. Something I didn't say about the coarse pencils, you know, I showed you them, said they're a great budget option for pastels. They don't have any grey in them. They don't have greys or browns, so that can be a little bit of a drawback. You've got no sort of beiges or silvery colours or anything like that, which is what I like about the pastel tint. I can't say for about the Holbeins, to be fair. I haven't, I've only got, well, I've got a few. I've got this colour, which is, I took it out of my tin. This is the sand, so it's quite a beigey colour, so I suspect that is in their pastel set, but I don't know for sure. So it does exist. I mean, that would be in there, definitely be in their full set of pencils. So we'll see. I'm doing this bit behind these circles. I'm going to just sharpen my pencil. I feel like that's sort of background as well, if that makes sense. So I just want to fill that in, but I'm going to leave those bits. I don't know why, because I'm weird. You knew that. Yeah, we didn't see anything exciting along the canal today, apart from a few pigeons. We were there, we went for a walk on Monday and saw a kingfisher twice, which was rather lovely. I'm just looking at what I've used and what I haven't used. I'm going to use the heather to do some of the shapes. I'm thinking the swirls, so these, you can see this is a slightly different purpley colour. I'm just blocking it in at the moment. I'm trying to think about whether to do anything different with it. Just gonna see how it looks. So I did some blends on the body, but I haven't done any on the main wings. Maybe I'll just go along with it and do it like this. There we go. Now I do have reviews of all of the pastel pencils on my channel, so if you want to know a little bit more about them or see all of the colours in the set being used, then that might be useful for you. Now I think these, you know, look at the Holbein and look at these. I think these are supposed to be copying Holbein. Look how close they look. But then a lot of pencils have this sort of mark around the base. So I'm not sure. But one thing I have noticed about Castle is the harmonious pencils, my tin, really smell like chemical type smell. It's quite nasty. Every time I use them I keep thinking I must just air them somewhere to try and get rid of the smell, and then I always forget and don't do it. I'm good like that. So it's a bit pungent. And so when I was doing my completed pages video, I was looking back over a picture that I did with the harmonious pencils, and I got that smell up my nose when I was just thinking about them, and talking about them now I can smell it as well. Obviously it's not, I know it's not real smell, but I don't know if you get that. I don't know if other people get that, where I can just smell smells without them being around. I mean, I guess it's no different to being able to visualise scenes or imagine noises and things. See, I can do that. It's the I can't visualise things, but I can smell, you know, recall smells and sounds. And touch, I don't know. I don't know if I use that sort of memory of sense memory so much. I don't know. So back to our blue mist, which we remember used around here. We're going to use it for these bits now. For the circles I'm just going to block them in because these small ones are so little, and I want them to be the same, so I'm just going to block them in with a, like that. This background as well, it looks to me like it should be darker in here, so I'm going to build it up a little bit there where the dots are more close together, and then fade it towards there where they're further apart, just trying to make sure I do get some pencil on all of the paper. And then we'll work our way down. Like that. I'm going to do this side while I contemplate these bits. I've got an idea, but I don't know if I can make it work. I'll think about it. Like there's that. Now I was thinking about using a mix of colours, but it's quite a small area, so I wasn't sure whether I could fit it all in. That's what I'm thinking about. I think if I use a blue and a pink, we might create a different purple colour, where they sort of overlap each other, which could be nice. Let's have a look once I finish this bit. There we go. I think I'm just going to block in this as well. It's a bit of a confusing shape to me. I wouldn't quite know what to do with it, so I'm just going to block it in. Make it easy for myself. Now I'm going to sharpen before I do these little bits. My plan is to fade each towards the base, or tip, whatever. Where they overlap, make it a little bit darker and then fade it, as if you're colouring, well, it's the way I do roof tiles and scales and things like that. That is the way Johanna Basford does it. It's her that I got the idea from. I saw she shared a video the other day, going back a bit, when this video comes out, but of her colouring a page from her new book, which was rather nice. Can't wait. But a while to go yet. Sort of I'm assuming it's 24th and 26th of October, I'm not entirely sure. Can't remember the dates exactly, but sort of, mid to late October, so a while yet. Got mine on pre-order already, I think. Need to check. I always doubt myself. Have I done it? Have I not? I always order mine from Waterstones, the bookseller, because they tend to send them out quicker than Amazon. So it's worth the extra money. They're a little bit more expensive, but I just like to get mine early so I can do a flip through and start doing videos nice and quickly, because I always find they're popular, the early ones on early titles, so I do that. I haven't got everyone's latest books. I've sort of tried to slow down my book purchasing a little bit, but I would always buy Johanna's new ones. But other things, maybe not quite so much until I finished a few more. So, but of course I finished Ivy quite recently, and the month before I finished Atlas Botanica, which was a really quick one to finish, to be fair, and I've got a few others that I'm sort of thinking about finishing, but I haven't quite decided yet. So I need to pick one really and go for it. But I don't even know which. I've got 3 Johanna books on the go, Lost Ocean, World of Flowers, Worlds of Wonder, oh, and Magical Jungle. 4 then. I've got to decide whether I'm going to just concentrate on one and finish it. I won't be doing that with Magical Jungle. It's my sort of practice tutorial book, so I follow tutorials in there every so often to you know, give me a few new ideas and that sort of thing. And so that one is not going to be finished anytime soon. Now I was thinking of doing a bit of pink, a bit of Wisteria at the bottom of each to sort of blend it up, so I'm going to do that. Now it's quite interesting because I think the colours I've chosen are quite muted, obviously, and I think they look almost like the mutedness of the Harmonious or the metallic pencils. So I'm doing a little bit at the bottom of each of these with this one, just fading it up. I'm going quite quickly, aren't I? You know why? I'm hungry. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a separate video for the background, and we're going to have a think about different ways we could do it and that sort of thing. I think it'd be better than me trying to rush it on the end of this one when I'm hungry, or even stopping, coming back. No, I might stop and come back and do it actually, because I don't know if there's very much to say really, enough to sort of warrant a full video. I'll have a think anyway. Yeah, I just thought really quick, I am going to make it another video. It might just be a short morning video, you know, how to do a little background, because sometimes I think it's quite useful having a separate video for the background, so that if someone just wants to know how to do backgrounds, they can just watch that video. They don't have to watch the whole thing, if you know what I mean. I think this is quite effective. There we go. So I'm going to zoom out. There we go, so you can see the whole thing. So that's my very subtle pastel dragonfly, and I've missed a bit there. I'm going to fiddle. There we go, even though I'm hungry. There we are, that's better. And yes, I will do another video with the background, because there's quite a lot going on with the little stars or flowers, whatever they are, and the dots and things like that. So I will come back and do something with that. But for now, thank you for watching. I hope that was useful, a little bit about pastels and things like that. And happy colouring.